thank you for the floor. So I'm going to talk about macro-regional strategies and youth employability. And we will take the case today of the Danube strategy for this meeting today. And as you can see, our activities themselves are an Interact project of the Danube Transnational Program. However, the macro-regional strategy, the Danube strategy, is sort of a spin-off. So if Interact... If Interact was like a Netflix series, this would be a spin-off that is maybe a bit different and not for the same people. Yeah, this is how you can see it. So we have a number of work areas. Oh, I try to share something else. So now you can see the Danube strategy area. And we talked about the needs. So those who are not in employment or education, Howard said he dislikes this notion. I also do, but that's what is used. And in this Danube macro region, you can find some of the wealthiest parts of Europe, of the European Union, and some of the not so wealthy parts of the European Union with different challenges. Poverty in the Western areas is more concentrated in the big cities like Munich or Vienna, whereas in the southeastern areas, let's say Bulgaria, Romania, Serbia, it's more concentrated on the countryside. So the challenges are completely different. And also talking about youth employability, I would say that youth unemployment is mainly solved by emigration from east to west. So from east to west. So there's also a big transnational macro-regional challenge. Just very briefly about our structure. So we work primarily on labor market and education policies, and also with vulnerable groups, and youth employment is of course integrated in this labor market and education systems. And my presentation is mainly based upon two hypotheses, mainly that the macro-regional strategies connect investment and cooperation. So they connect sort of the mainstream programs and Interact. So the big bunch of money and the cooperation money. But they also connect the European Union with the neighboring countries, which is already shown by the fact that we coordinate our area with the Republic of Moldova and Ukraine. Now, Ilse asked me to talk about the projects, which is a bit challenging for me because we are not a program. We are a strategy, and a strategy is about how to use money, how to use resources that are there, but we don't have an administrative connection with projects. We don't fund them, but we are connected to them. And as this is a capitalization meeting, we also help in capitalizing the results from the projects. So one project would be this Interact project of the Danube program, a transnational program that covers the same area as the Danube strategy. And this project tries to connect like the gaps between the skills and the labor market. So they work with firms, with the industry, but also with ministries and also with the universities to match the skills with the needs of the labor market. And as you can see, it's a German project, and there's also Volkswagen and Mercedes behind. So these firms have big factories in, let's say, in Hungary and also in Bratislava and Slovakia, but they have skills shortages. They don't find the right people. And in this project, as a result, and I think that touches the very meaning of capitalization, even two laws, national laws in Slovakia and Serbia, were adopted in order to integrate practical skills into the education systems of these two countries. So a very interesting project. I will show two others because we mentioned neighborhood policy and regional policy are connected. So how do we work inside the European Union and how do we work with our partners outside the European Union? And here you have a cross-border projects, again, about youth between Ukraine and Moldova, who are also our partners in the Danube strategy. And just to give you another example, that's a project that I coordinate. It's in this case, it's Austrian development money to support to build an unemployment service in Moldova. So we do meetings and trainings in the Republic of Moldova in Chisinau, or experts come to Vienna. And for instance, what we do is like trainings to train girls in IT, to have more IT managers in the future who are women in Moldova, hoping that they wouldn't emigrate later as well. So this is just to show you that we do not only work with Interact projects, but also with other projects, like in this case, Austrian Development Assistance.
Thanks. And you also link different projects to ESF Managing Authorities Network in your work. So you have several blocks of activities.
Yeah, and this is exactly my next point. Thank you, Ilse. You can already foresee what I'm talking about, because I'm going to talk about embedding. And that's a topic that is close to my heart, let's say, having worked for macro-regional strategies and also Interact for the past 10 years. If you, I mentioned before, the Danube program as a transnational program provides money for the governance of the macro-regional strategy, of the Danube strategy. So this strategy for the Danube area. And I'm not sure whether the program is always happy about it, because it's a very tiny project and a big workload. And with this embedding part, I want to show, however, how Interact can connect to the main funds, and how thereby Interact can gain via the macro-regional strategy in policy relevance, and how this policy, so of the European Social Fund, can gain in a European, a transnational perspective by being connected to Interact. So they are both partners kind of gain. And just when we look at the money in the past period, there's a lot more money involved in the ESF than in Interact. Just Romania, Hungary would be about 3 billion in this period. And of course, they also support youth employability. And in the future, in the next period, it will be mainly Croatia, I think, but also others, Hungary, who are going to invest in youth employability. So these are the Danube countries and their ESF money in the past period. And for the next period, using the Interact money, using our Interact project, we have actually already formulated a transnational module in the ESF programs. So this means that the 9 ESF countries in the Danube region, from Germany till Bulgaria, when they write their operational programs in the ESF, they will have the same or a similar text to explain how they are going to exchange transnationally. And I think that's a big step for the macro-regional strategies. And the cooperation, the collaboration between the countries can range from transnational capitalization, so to share the experiences that the countries have made, till coordinated calls, as they have already, by the way, happened in the Baltic Sea strategy. So for instance, Finland and Sweden launched a call at the same time, the same date, about youth employability in their European Social Fund programs. So this is something we could reach. And in this ESF Managing Authorities Network, we develop, we try to find out what are the different challenges, where could we work together, and which kind of projects. For instance, in the last period, there was a project where a Bulgarian ESF project dealing with Roma women has involved German experts, and they used the transnational part of the ESF. And this is closely connected to other Interact projects. So I come to the end. I hope I wasn't too long. So when talking about macro-regional strategies, you can say that they are kind of like a catalyst, in this game between policy, program, project. They help, like a sort of loop, they help to not to implement projects, but to get them on the way, and then to take the results and help in the capitalization, and then also in a more top-down movement in the coordination. So that looks a bit highbrow, but in reality, it's quite simple. And I believe that this is also quite interesting to see how this spin-off of the macro-regional strategies helps Interreg in a way. And I hope that many Interreg managers would also see it like that sooner or later. And that's it from my side.